Hey, what's going on, family? Today we're going to talk about this article written from the Investor's Business Daily. It's about Apple. The stock drops as growth outlook called anemic to negative. If that don't tell you that there's problems within Apple, I don't know what does. Now, there has always been signs that this was coming, that the perception of Apple being its bellwether, this massive conglomerate within the technology space, it kind of looks like they're losing their footing. I mean, think about it. Back here, the Wall Street Journal reported back in September of last year that China bans iPhones used for government officials at work. Now, just read it in between the lines, because you may think logically that, okay, cool. Yeah, the Chinese government said that they don't want their, quote, government officials to have iPhones. But what about the rest of the citizens in China? Is that like a canary in the coal mine? Like, yes, you may actually title this article government officials, but how will other people read that? Especially if you're fully backing your government. If you're telling the government officials not to have iPhones, then the citizens in China be like, okay, cool. Apparently, I'm not going to have one either, because I respect my government. I respect those who are in charge of the society, the community in which I live. So if they say that they can't have an iPhone, then guess what? As a collective, we as a community won't have the iPhones then. Now, that was back in September 2023. So that was one alert right there. And then you just saw this one recently. Move over, Apple. Samsung steals back the top spot in the smartphone market. Wow. And this was posted when? April the 15th? Apple needs to get back on the ball. They need to start innovating with their iPhone technology or create some other avenue of market share that's untapped to keep people there. Because if other countries of the world begin to ban iPhones usage and the purchase of iPhones, and then you can see that Apple is not innovating fast enough, faster than Samsung is, then where else can Apple go? What else can Apple do? I know many people were talking about Apple creating an Apple vehicle, an EV vehicle. That's not happening. Apple has already pretty much saturated the market in terms of phone usage. What's next? Have they priced out people from purchasing their phones? Are they too expensive? How many other diverse phones have they created? Is it just the iPhone? Because when you see Samsung, they have a plethora of different phones at different price targets. But you get the iPhone, that's the only thing you get. Apple neglected of diversifying their product line. They kept the iPhone. That was it. They should have broken the iPhone into multiple phones at different price points. That could have been one thing that could have saved at least them losing the top spot in the phone markets. Apple stock fell Tuesday after a Wall Street firm lowered its estimates for the company's March quarter following sales channel checks that showed lower iPhone sales and weakness in China. Needham analyst Laura Martin cut her estimates for Apple's fiscal second quarter but maintained her buy rating on Apple stock. They always do that. This can always be taken with a grain of salt. They will continually hold to a buy rating and the stock could be down 40%. And they'll still say it's a buy. And then the next quarter, the stock goes down another 20%. And then they'll still maintain the buy rating. It's really futile for them to come out with these recommendations. It's just straight trash. It's garbage for them to even try to come out with a rating, because it doesn't impact the stock. When you have a buy rating, the idea of the price chart is supposed to be higher, right? It's supposed to be higher, but clearly we can see off of the price action in Apple that this stock is not going that direction. Something is wrong. Okay, so I don't care who Laura Martin is, who she works for. This stock should not have a buy rating yet, because we're trending down. and you don't know where the bottom is. If this information, this news, negative information, negative news come out for Apple, then the stock will continue to drift. Like, we've already got a price prediction on our chart for that to occur. The biggest thing I think I told you all was that we needed to see this market in Apple hold this zone right there. If that does, then maybe what Laura is talking about in this article could be correct, that this could be a buying opportunity. She noted that the consumer electronics giant faces significant headwinds. If it's significant, then why you got a buy rating? Like, make it make sense. If it's that impactful to Apple stock price, why are you holding to a buy rating if the significant headwinds are still coming for Apple? Quote, Apple's anemic and or negative growth outlook, along with expected cost increases to fund Gen AI, are the biggest gating factors preventing new investors from buying Apple. New investors from buying Apple. Keyword buying. But then you see up here they maintain their buy rating. So buy rating means that the market should be going up. You should be buying the stock at a particular price. But then you say down here that it's stopping people from investing, from buying. Martin said in a client note, the channel checks showing lower iPhone sales were partially offset by slighter, higher than expected revenue from iPad and Mac computer sales. Martin predicts Apple will report hardware sales of $67 billion, down 9% year over year, and sales and service sales of $23 billion, up 11%. So this is the market right there that's actually keeping Apple from collapsing or plummeting in value. Martin is forecasting iPhone sales of $46 billion, down 9% year over year. Yeah, I wanted to see, okay, Martin has a price target on Apple stock of 220. So she's looking for 220. So let's go to see where we are at here, around 168, 220, 31% run. Okay, 31%. Now, the next question is, if she has a price target of $220, where do you want to buy in? The next question is, okay, where's your entry price? Because right now the market hasn't found the bottom in Apple yet. That's the next question. Yeah, you may have a price target of 220, but you can't tell me that we haven't hit rock bottom yet in Apple stock. So how can you know? Well, you'll know by the price action of the chart. Okay, that's how you'll know. Because apparently, understand that Laura, who works for Needham, who is an analyst, they may be sitting on a bag of Apple stock that they're trying to sell. So inevitably, if I want to sell stock and I want to make money off of it, I need to promote that my target is higher. Because now your mind would think, okay, if I buy it here because it's only traded at 167, I could get 33% on my money if it hits 220. Let me buy some. And as you're buying, they're the one that's selling it to you. Laura and that company, Needham, is selling their stock to you. When the whole time they've been selling. Like, make it make sense. No one is in the markets to be your friend. If they tell you one thing, always look side eye, especially if it doesn't gel with the price chart. So I'm not going to change my price prediction, but I am definitely watching to see if we're going to continue to get these buyers right there around 165, 167. Who knows? Maybe Needham is buying there. If we continually see this market hold that zone, then that's preferably what's going on. Someone is buying the stock there. So I'm still on the lookout for that. But if it doesn't hold this first buy zone, we already got these other two targets there too. So we'll see what happens. Give me your thoughts. Make sure you maintain the profitability. And as always, trade different.